All right. First things first, everybody turned in their homework, right? Does anybody have any of the parental assessments still to turn in?
Not me.
Yeah. Luckily, you can turn yours in later today.
Gosh, whoever didn't turn their portals on in.
All right. Before today's lesson, I want to be real honest with you guys. Again, thank you. I actually made a last minute change to the entire syllabus like 2 days ago. Because after our first class, I knew something had to be a little bit different. Hello, Jocelyn. Originally, I planned to delve deep into the fruit of the Spirit lesson today. And we were going to talk about all the individual traits that I call the fruits. And we're just going to dive right into each one. But after thinking about it, and honestly, after seeing how well engaged you all were and how serious you are taking this class, I realized that if I just stand up here and lecture through all 9 of the fruits, you won't get as much out of it as I want. All of those traits, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, are incredibly important. I want to stress that. But I think they'll be better absorbed and way more useful to you if we learn them alongside the active tools that we'll be processing and practicing in this class. So instead of cramming them all into one day, I've decided I'm going to weave 1 or 2 fruits of the Spirit into each of the lessons to come. Hopefully, you guys will find that approach more helpful. If not, forgive me, because I'm learning alongside you. One note I wanted to bring up that was already brought up actually in class last week is the wording of the fruits of the Spirit, how I keep saying that. In the scripture, of course, it is the fruit of the Spirit. This is because Jesus says, by his fruit you will know him, or by their fruit you will know them. Just like healthy trees produce good fruit naturally, a spiritually healthy person produces good fruit in their life. And just like a corrupt or rotten tree produces bad fruit or sometimes no fruit at all, someone not rooted in the Spirit will not show these qualities consistently. Now, you can be somebody without the Holy Spirit and still have some self-control or be a kind person, but you won't have all of these traits consistently. For simplicity in class, when I'm talking about the different traits, I often say fruits because of the fact that it helps us realize that they're all little individual things we can work on that accumulates into one great fruit of the Spirit. Think of it like a fruit bowl. All right. So last week, you each chose one of the traits to focus on, and you were supposed to write 1 line each day, ideally, about how you noticed it. Some people said they didn't hear me give that information, but by show of hands, who noticed their fruit at least 5 times during the week? All right, at least 3 times? At least once? Okay, that's still great. That's still great. All right. Would anyone like to share what fruit they chose and one of the times that they noticed it show up? Oh, man. Patience was also my fruit that I chose this week. I noticed a couple of you guys did. Anybody else want to share a time that it came up? Maybe this is one of the ways he's showing you can grow in your patience. That's so good. Awesome. I love hearing y'all's observations because it means that you're already training your brain to notice growth. And that is what we're talking about today. You guys noticed growth because you were looking for it. You were paying attention to when you needed that fruit. That's not an accident. Just like Jesus said, by their fruit you will know them. But just like the tree that is known by the fruit it produces, growth doesn't happen on accident. It doesn't happen automatically. We have to nurture it, tend to it, and believe it's possible, which is important. That's exactly why we're talking about growth mindset and fixed mindset today. Because your mindset, the way you think about your ability to change, affects everything else we're going to learn in class. Literally everything. A fixed mindset says, this is just who I am. I can't change. If I'm not good at it now, I will never be good at it. And I have my reasons for thinking that. A growth mindset says, I may not be good at this yet, but I can grow, I can learn, and I can improve with effort and patience. Okay. Which one do you think leads to more success in life?
B.
Definitely growth mindset, yes. I mentioned last week that Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's the heart of growth mindset. Letting God renew our minds so we believe change is possible. It's not just positive thinking or fake it till you make it. It's biblical truth. Although we will have a lesson on fake it till you make it because it does have some truth behind it. An even clearer picture and our anchor verse for today is Ephesians 4:22 through 24. You were taught with regard to your former way of life. Put away your old self, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Right there. Fixed mindset is your old self, stuck in its this is how I am. Where a growth mindset is the new self, renewed in your mind and open to God's transformation. So, this isn't just a nice life skill to learn. It's spiritual warfare against the lies that keep holding us back. Okay? So, as you guys can see on the board, I have it all written out because I actually got here early like I was supposed to today. Fixed mindset says, I'm not good at this. Growth mindset says, I'm getting better little by little. Fixed mindsets think that failure equals proof I can't do this. I messed up, obviously, I stink at it. In a growth mindset, we still fail. If we have a growth mindset, everybody fails, that's okay. But we look at it as an opportunity to grow. You could avoid challenges with a fixed mindset, thinking, no, I'm not good at that. I don't want to try because I won't be good at it. I'll probably fail. Or you can embrace your challenges and go, maybe this new thing that I could try is going to make me grow. Much like avoiding challenges, fixed mindsets, they give up easy. It's not worth it to them if they don't think they can grow. Where a growth mindset persists through setbacks. Fixed mindset is threatened by others' success. Some people don't think about that when they think about a fixed mindset. They're threatened by other people's success because of the fact that it points out their own failures and their own inability to grow. And they think, well, why can they grow? Why can they succeed if I can't? We want to be inspired by others' success, not held back and ashamed of others' success. If your friend gets a better score on a test than you, be happy for them and maybe even ask them for help. Fixed mindset is notorious to stay in their comfort zone, meaning they don't want to try anything new. Again, they avoid challenges. I love trying new things. My love for Savage races and Spartan races is because I love trying new things. The moment I saw that first video of somebody running an obstacle course race as a grown-up, I was like, what? I thought obstacle course races were just for kids, and they were full of balloons and pool noodles. I want to do it. And I've been hooked. So the fixed mindset says, I'll never be able to fill in the blank. I'll never be able to
Move my hands.
correctly. I've had that fixed mindset when it comes to playing piano. I tried to learn to play the piano 3 different times, and every time I gave up because I had a fixed mindset when it came to my creative ability. I've actually already set that for a goal for next year.
I'm still not the best at it, but I'm not giving up.
But you are slowly getting better, aren't you? Because you can learn to fill in the blank.
Play the piano.
All right. Is there a time anybody can think of when they tried something new and it actually surprised yourself when you could do it? Absolutely. Nice. Awesome. That's so cool. All right. Now I want to let you guys in on a secret. It's really cool. It's the most powerful 3-letter word when it comes to growth mindset. Anybody want to guess? Close. Yet. It's the most important 3-letter word when it comes to growth mindset because listen to how these sentences change. I'm not good at this yet. Proof I can't do this yet. I'll never be able to do this yet. Instead of never, yet. Instead of can't, for now. All right? So adding yet actually completely changes the story that your brain is telling itself. Why is this so powerful? Okay, this is where I get to nerd out for a second on how the brain actually works. When you do just about anything, or say anything, or even just think about anything, your brain is building pathways called neural connections. Okay, there's billions, trillions, uncountable neural connections. And every moment, not minute, second, every second of the day, your brain is building more. Okay? Every time you think or do something, that connection that your brain uses, that neural pathway, it gets stronger. Like walking the same path through grass day after day after day, it wears a trail, right? A fixed mindset closes that path. Your brain's little neural pathway goes, oh, play the piano? Nope. Play the piano? Nope, can't do that. Okay, not gonna try. The I can't do this that you tell your brain, and your brain being so willing to believe you all the time, it hears that as final, and it stops looking for solutions. Because why would we look for solutions to something that's impossible? Which, when you tell your brain, I can't, you're telling your brain it's impossible. And it literally believes you. It shuts down the learning process. It's going to devote no precious energy to something that you can't do. And it doesn't know better. It's there just to believe you, to help you do exactly what you want to do. It's there to keep you safe. So if you think I'm going to fail, it's going to go, we're not going to try. Okay? But when you add that magical 3-letter word, yet, your brain keeps that path open and it actually starts looking for the pathways of possibility because it goes, oh, okay, yet. So we want to do this and we can't yet. So how do we do it? Because we want to do it, obviously, because we're saying yet. What could I try? How can I get better? Who can help me? What resources are available to me? Those questions start going on in your mind without you even realizing it when you pair yet. Okay? Over time, those connections become stronger and stronger and literally rewires your brain to believe that change is possible. So every time you say yet after stating one of those fixed mindsets, you are literally doing a mini brain surgery on yourself. You're ripping out that stopped connection and you are replacing it with one that works, that goes all the way through. All right, growth-oriented ones. So yeah, that's how the brain works for neural pathways. So if we say something is impossible, your brain's going to believe it. And if you say something is possible, your brain's also going to believe it. One of my favorite quotes that's along these lines is Henry Ford. My kids know it very well. If you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Henry Ford said that. And while I didn't agree with all of his political standpoints, Henry Ford was very an interesting man regardless. And he was right when it came to that. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I'll give you an example and get vulnerable with you guys for a second since I'm making good time. For most of my life, and I mean most of it, like till recently, I had a completely fixed mindset about my own social abilities. I was socially awkward. I still am, most of the time. And I used to tell myself horrible things like, I'm just terrible with people. I can't talk right. I can't connect with others. Honestly, up until recently, and I know my kids have heard me say this, I would even say that I hated people in general. And I don't like that word. I really, really dislike the word hate. But that's how strong my fixed mindset was in this area of my life. And when I got my autism diagnosis as an adult, it made it worse. Because now I had a scientific reason to blame. Well, I'm autistic, so of course I can't do social situations well, clinging to that stereotype so that I wouldn't even have to try. But here's the thing, and it connects to next week's lesson on limiting beliefs. I was using my diagnosis as the excuse to stay stuck instead of information to help me grow differently, like I needed to. It wasn't until just a couple of years ago, well into my growth journey, that I decided I didn't want I'm bad with people to be my truth around that anymore. And let me tell you, like I said, I am still working on undoing the damage that holding that fixed mindset did to how I see the world and other people. But the amazing thing is, as I've been working on shifting the growth mindset in this area, I've discovered something pretty incredible that I never thought was going to be true. People are actually pretty amazing. Yes, there's a few bad apples. I know that. But there are so many more wonderful, caring, and awesome people than I ever thought possible before, because I wasn't looking for them, because I hated people. But especially in this room, you all blew me away with your answers to the pre-class homework. Absolutely amazing. Some of them even brought tears to my eyes. The depth of how you think about your futures, how much you care about growing. It's given me even more faith in humanity. So thank you for that. And that's the power of mind shift. When I changed how I thought about my ability to connect with people, I started noticing all the good people that my fixed mindset used to block out. Now, here's something crucial that most people don't realize. Your mindset isn't always the same across every area of your life. If you would have asked any of my friends, they would have been like, oh no, Casey is totally growth mindset, 100%. But I still struggle with some fixed mindset areas. And identifying them and working on them are one of the most important things that I do on a daily and weekly basis. Because you can be totally growth minded in one area and completely fixed in another. Like with my social. Do you need to see the board, honey? Okay. So, or you can also be a mixture of the two. You can be growth oriented in some aspects of social, like say, maybe you're really good at making friends, But then when it comes to a romantic interest, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot talk to them, which is a really common fixed mindset for teenagers to go through. This is important because over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at the different areas of life where you will want to start setting different goals. And if you have hidden fixed mindsets that you're unaware of in certain areas, those will sabotage your goals. You might not even know it, but before you even start working on them, they're going to be stopping you. So let me give you some examples of what I mean. In academics, 2 students could get a C on the same test, where one says, I'm dumb and I'll never get this subject, I might as well give up. The other student might say, okay, this shows me what I need to work on. I can improve with better study strategies. Same grade, same class, but I can already tell you, they have completely different futures. Physical ability. I had a fixed mindset in that before I found OCR training and my love of running. I broke my hips when I was 18 years old. I was in the military, signed up really young before I was ready, and I didn't know that I had a skeletal deformity. And so I ran my final PT test on 2 broken hips, 5 stress fractures total. I did it. I passed with 2 seconds to spare, but when I came out and ultimately got discharged, I was told I'd never run again. I shouldn't try to jump or climb on anything in case I fall, because I'll break my hips again. And then I could lose my ability to walk. I finally changed that mindset several years ago and retaught myself how to run. It's a slow-going process. I still can't run for more than about a minute at a time before I feel those twinges of pain that make me worry. But little by little, it's grown and changed. You could have a financial area where you have a fixed mindset. This is a big one that affects adults, but like all the others, it gets instilled in your childhood. So don't just be paying attention to your own fixed mindsets. Look at your parents' fixed mindsets. Pay attention to how they word things. He's really good at calling me out when I word something in a fixed mindset manner. An example of a fixed mindset in the financial realm. We're just not good with money. We'll never get ahead. We live paycheck to paycheck. That's a statement I hear so many people say about themselves, and I've even said about myself. And when I hear it now, knowing what I now know, I think to myself, oh my gosh, you're setting yourself up for failure. Don't talk like that. Don't ever say I'm living paycheck to paycheck, okay? Word it any other way. Don't word it so cagedly. A growth mindset version of that, and you could correct your parents respectfully. We just haven't learned good management of money yet, but we can. We can educate ourselves and make better choices moving forward. We can always make more money or spend less. Okay? So, I want you guys to start thinking. You don't have to share it out loud. I want you guys to start thinking. And since you all, almost all of you chose patience, it's probably at the top of your mind. Start thinking about some fixed mindsets that you guys might hold. Because we're about to make this practical. I want you to open your journal to a new page. And at the top, I want you to write fixed mindset. And don't forget the word set like I did when I was rushing this morning. Versus growth mindset. And write a line straight down the middle. Just like I have here.
What's on the other side?
I even did it in mine. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset. I even did it in mine so that I could get started. And then under fixed mindset, I want you guys to start writing your own fixed mindset beliefs. I want you guys to try to think, while we're in class right now, try to think of 3 areas of your life. They can be broad, like I'm bad at math, or they can be really focused, like I can't get that kickflip on my skateboard. No shame here. I can't even stay on a skateboard. So like I said, try to think of 3, and when you can't think of any more, go ahead and set your pencils down so that I can know that you're done. Siblings can feel free to help each other, because sometimes we don't see our own fixed mindsets.
I don't have anything. I'm not joking. I really can't think of anything. Like, excuse me, I'm on 2.5 hours of sleep.
I know. What about spelling?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
How do you spell that?
S-P E-L-L
Say it all.
E-L-L-I-N-G.
I have a great memory and musical memory as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah. Anything else?
Well, I know you don't really have a fixed mindset about it, but maybe you have something holding you back surrounding the training of your dog. Because that was supposed to happen 2 years ago.
I just got called out.
Hey, you asked. All right, y'all. Now, so you guys might have some things that look like I'm terrible at math, I'm too awkward to make new friends, I have no musical ability, or I'll never be as strong in my faith as other people are. Next to each fixed mindset, even if it's just a couple words, I want you to write something that insinuates growth mindset so that you can start changing the way you think about that. You can add the word yet, that super magical 3-letter word. You can change never to not currently. You can change can't to haven't learned to yet. Just rewrite those fixed mindsets you just wrote down as a growth mindset, like I did here. Instead of I'm not good at math, put I'm getting better little by little, or I can practice more and get better. What you're doing here by rewriting your own fixed mindset into a growth mindset is literally brain training. You are literally rewiring those neural pathways right now as you write your growth mindset statements. While you're working on that, I'm going to talk about patience, which is that fruit that so many seemed to choose, myself included, for that first week. Some translations better call it forbearance, and I like that one more because that insinuates both patience and perseverance. Patience for yourself, not giving up. Patience matters. U-N-D-E-R. Patience matters so much for growth mindset because growth takes time. It is slow. It does not show itself right away. If anybody's ever tried to lose weight or gain muscle or anything like that, that takes so much time before you see even the littlest amount of difference. And then when you're seeing it, you're thinking, am I really seeing it? Or am I just making it up in my head?
It took me all summer just to put on 5 pounds of muscle. I was really focused on
I know.
working out every single night, and it took so long.
That was a lot of perseverance. That was strong forbearance.
I'm very good at devotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like devoting myself to something.
That's perseverance. That's part of that fruit.
I work really hard for an end goal. I don't need current motivation. I need an end goal that I'm set on.
Yeah.
So keep working and push through the.
Absolutely.
I don't want to do that.
Growth mindset paired with patience says this is going to take time, but that's okay. I can stick with the process long enough to see real change. Without patience, you'll want to give up on yourself the moment things get difficult. I see it in myself. I see it in my kids. I see it in my friends. They'll try to do something new and then they'll give up because it took too long for it to get to that easy point. They made it too difficult, which we will also have a lesson on. But with forbearance, you can endure the awkward learning phase, all the mistakes, the slow progress, because you know that it's just part of the process. In Hebrews 6:12, it tells us, we do not want you to become lazy, but to rather imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. I love that one. I love it when the Bible calls me out on things that I'm like, oof, okay, I'm not going to be lazy. All right. Growth mindset and forbearance, they work together. You know, even Jesus's disciples are the perfect example of this. They weren't scholars or natural leaders when Jesus called them. They became that over time. Peter was impulsive and had a hot temper. Thomas doubted all the time, not just when Jesus was resurrected. Thomas doubted all the time. He was constantly the one questioning Jesus's plans. Matthew was despised because he was a selfish tax collector before Jesus called him. But Jesus saw their potential and patiently developed them over the course of 3 years by their side. They had a growth mindset because they believed Jesus when he said they could learn and they could change and they could put off their old self and take up a new self. Even a zealot, exactly. They had patience and they stuck with the process, even when they messed up, which they did repeatedly, just like we do today. That's the combination we're going for. Believing change is possible and being patient with the process. If you can do those two things, this whole class is going to be so much easier.
Can you tell me how to spell pressure?
Pressure, I think. Okay. You might want to ask somebody else. All right. I better keep going. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, Coach Casey, growth mindset sounds great, but I have these voices in my head that keep telling me I can't change, and they're pretty convincing. They have really good reasons why I can't change. How do I deal with those? That's a great question, and those voices are what we call limiting beliefs. They're more than just the fixed mindset. They are the stories we tell ourselves about why we can't succeed, okay? Why we are different, why things just won't work for us. Remember how I shared about using my diagnosis as a reason why I couldn't improve socially? That was a limiting belief, disguised as a fact. Of course, it's a fact. I have autism. I've embraced that. That's okay. But to use it, to hold myself back, that was a limiting belief. Next time, we're going to learn how to identify our limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about baby elephants and starting to break free from our own ropes that hold us back.
Tomorrow, correct?
Next Monday. Yes. Yes, tomorrow. I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, so here's your challenges for this week. All right? It connects to patience, forbearance. Part 1 is, I want you during this week to identify 3 more fixed mindsets that you come across. Write them down in your journal exactly as they come up. Right when they come up, if you can. If you can stop what you're doing and write it down right away. Don't judge them, just notice them. Don't beat yourself up, just notice it. Write it down. And then later on, without judgment, for each fixed mindset, I want you to rewrite it as a growth mindset statement, like we did here today. And if you weren't able to finish those, you can do those as well. Then I want you to practice saying those growth mindset statements, including the ones we wrote today and the ones you write throughout the week. This is going to train your brain to look for the growth mindset rather than the fixed mindset. And this will also help for next week's lesson. One other thing I want you to do, I know it's a lot, but this class is going to be so transformative. I got to jam a lot into each one. Just 3 times this week where forbearance showed up in your life again. Okay? Patience, perseverance, all of those are included in forbearance. Okay? That can look like finishing homework when you don't feel like it. That can look like waiting for something without complaining. No, they're just for most teenagers.
It's like every
and
time,
adults.
10 minutes,
She's shaking her head like.
It's like every 10 minutes you're just like, oh,
I'm trying to make eye contact with every child in here, okay?
yeah, but like you put your voice to it, whatever, you look at me.
Choosing not to give up when something looks hard. Being patient with a sibling. There, is that better?
Yeah, better.
Wait, I need to look at 6 kids when I say that, because there's several. And sticking with a task even when it's boring. That's my favorite one where patience shows up for me. I don't like the word hate. I really dislike cleaning. It's so boring, and I was never taught to do it right. Exactly. I have to use music or a podcast. Cleaning is so boring.
I hate the front. I dislike the front register position.
There you go. There you go. Patience, forbearance. All right. Yep. You guys are good to go. I already went over the homework, and I will send out a recap in the group